the child they tried to erase. The laboratory was buried deep under black stone. No windows, no stars, only cold white lights and the soft scream of machines. Scientists stood in a wide circle around a glowing chamber. Their faces were pale, some looked excited, others looked afraid. Inside the chamber, something was about to be born. This project had no public name. In secret files, it was only called Phase Zero. The goal was simple and terrible: create a living weapon, a being that could control energy itself, a being the galaxy could use when all other wars were lost. The lead scientist watched the screen with shaking hands. Numbers rolled too fast to read. Energy levels climbed higher and higher. "Slow it down," someone whispered. "We can't," another voice answered. "It's not listening." A sudden alarm screamed through the room. Red lights replaced white. The floor trembled like a giant heart was beating under it. Some of the younger scientists stepped back. "She is forming too fast," the lead scientist said. "This is wrong." Inside the chamber, light folded in on itself. Then, in a flash of white, the shape of a small human baby appeared. A girl. She was tiny, quiet, her skin soft and warm, her eyes were closed. For one long moment, everything went silent. Then every screen in the lab exploded with symbols. Energy readings went past maximum, past danger, past every scale they had. One technician began to cry. This is not possible," he said. The lead scientist stared at the data. His voice was almost empty. "She is wrong," he said. "She should not exist." The council members, watching from behind the glass, began to argue. "She is unstable. She will destroy us. This is not a weapon. This is a disaster." A cold order came through the speakers. "Terminate the subject." Armed guards stepped forward. At that moment, the baby opened her eyes. The lights flickered. Gravity twisted. Tools lifted slowly into the air, shaking as if afraid. Every screen went black at the same time. The machines died. The alarm stopped. The room fell into deep, heavy silence. The baby began to cry. Not loud, not angry, just the soft sound of a newborn. Yet with every small breath she took, the air bent. The metal walls creaked. Invisible pressure moved through the lab like a wave. The guards froze. No one moved. Only one woman stepped forward. She was not a scientist. She cleaned floors. She emptied waste. She had watched this place for years. She had seen monsters built here. But this was just a child. "She's scared," the woman whispered. The lead scientist turned sharply. "Get back." But it was too late. A crack appeared in the far wall, then another. The entire chamber shook. "She is destabilizing the core," someone shouted. "If she stays here, the whole complex will collapse." The council spoke again. "Seal her, launch her now." A metal pod dropped from the ceiling and locked around the chamber. Systems powered up on emergency energy. Robotic arms moved fast, careful, almost gentle. The baby's cry slowed. The shaking stopped. The woman looked up at the sealed pod, tears running down her face. "She didn't choose this," she whispered. The pod was shot upward through an underground rail, faster and faster, straight toward the surface. Far above, hidden under a dead sky, a launch door opened. The pod was fired into space. No name, no record, no future. Just a small human child, alone in the dark. Back in the ruined lab, the lead scientist sank into a chair. "It's over," someone said. "The mistake is gone." He looked at the black screens. "No," he answered quietly. "We didn't erase a mistake." Outside the planet's thin atmosphere, the pod drifted among the stars. Inside, the baby slept. And the galaxy did not yet know. It had just been given its greatest threat. The girl who shouldn't survive. The pod fell through fire. For long seconds it burned like a small star as it cut across the sky of a forgotten world. Then it crashed into the red dust beyond an old mining zone. The ground shook, metal screamed, silence followed. Hours later, a man named Aaron found it. He was a human scavenger. His life was built from broken machines and dead ships. He searched crash sites for food, tools, and power cells. That day, he saw smoke rising where nothing should fall. He walked carefully. The pod was half buried, still warm, still humming. Inside, something moved. Aaron forced the hatch open and froze. A baby lay inside, alive, clean, breathing. Her eyes were open. They were not glowing, not strange, just deep and calm like dark water. Aaron felt something heavy press against his chest, not pain, not fear. Respect. He wrapped her in his coat and ran. Aaron and his partner, Lena, lived in a broken dome near the old mines. The air filters barely worked. The nights were freezing. Life there was slow and hard. Lena was shocked when she saw the child. "Where did you steal her from?" she asked. "I didn't," Aaron said. "She fell from the sky." They tried to scan her. Every scanner failed. They tried again. The machines shut down. The lights flickered. So they stopped asking questions. They named her Iris. Iris did not cry much. She watched. Even as a baby, she followed movement with perfect focus. When she slept, the room felt quiet, not silent, quiet like the world was holding its breath. Strange things happened as she grew. When power failed in the dome, it returned when she laughed. When heaters broke, they warmed when she touched them. Once, during a violent dust storm, the wind stopped around their home like an invisible wall stood in the air. The neighbors noticed. Some felt comfort. Others felt fear. Children avoided her. Animals stood still when she passed. Iris did not understand why people looked at her that way. She only knew she felt different. When she was 6, the first test came. A tunnel collapse trapped workers deep underground. The mine began to fall apart. Old reactors started to overload. The colony panicked. Aaron was inside. Lena tried to stop Iris from running toward the mines. But Iris pulled free. The deeper she went, the quieter the world became. Rocks hung in the air. Dust froze like smoke in glass. She did not know what she was doing. She only wanted her father back. She reached the broken tunnel. Touched the wall. The entire collapse reversed. Stone slid back into place. Fire died. Men fell to their knees in shock. Aaron walked out alive. Everyone stared at the small girl standing in the dust. No one cheered. No one spoke. That night, some families packed their things and left. After that, whispers spread. She is not human. She bends the world. She will bring something here. Iris heard them. She began to stay inside. She began to dream. Dreams of light. Dreams of cold rooms. Dreams of voices calling her error and failure. She woke many nights with pain in her chest and stars in her eyes. Far from that world, something ancient activated. A machine older than most civilizations. A sensor buried inside a dead moon. For the first time in centuries, it detected a signal. Not energy. Not matter. A presence. It sent a silent alert across deep space. Files unlocked. Names returned. A lost project resurfaced. Phase 0. On Iris's planet, a ship arrived quietly. No colony marks. No human code. Strangers walked the streets wearing friendly faces. They watched her. They placed small devices near her home. Each one failed. One night, Lena did not return from work. Aaron went looking. He never came back. Iris stood alone in the dome, surrounded by dead lights and broken air filters. The door opened. The strangers entered. Their eyes were wrong. Cold. Old. Hungry. "You are coming with us," one said. Iris stepped back. Fear rose in her chest. The floor cracked. The walls bent. One of them reached for her arm. The moment his fingers touched her skin, he vanished. No sound. No blood. Only empty air. The others stumbled back in terror. Outside, the sky lit up. Massive shadows blocked the stars. Ships. Too many. Too large. Iris walked slowly to the door and looked up. The galaxy had found her. And it was not alone. The signal that shook the stars. The sky was no longer a sky. It was a wall of metal. Dozens of massive ships floated above the small mining world. They blocked the stars. They blocked the sun. Shadows swallowed cities, deserts, and oceans. The colony's defense systems never even turned on. Every screen went black. Every weapon shut down. Every engine died. Silence spread across the planet. Inside the broken dome, Iris stood still. The strangers who had come for her were frozen in fear. One of them slowly backed away. "You don't understand what you are," he said. Iris did not answer. She stepped forward. The man fell to his knees. Across the galaxy, command centers were in chaos. Ancient empires opened sealed vaults. Religious worlds burned old books. Machine civilizations unlocked restricted codes. One message was repeating everywhere. Phase 0 confirmed. The project that was never meant to survive. The being that was never meant to grow. On the largest ship above the planet, a council of non-human leaders watched live images of Iris. "She is smaller than expected," one said. "Size means nothing," another replied. "So does age. She already erased one of our agents without effort." A third voice spoke, old and shaking. "Our ancestors tried to end her before she could awaken. They failed." A silence followed. Then the order was given. "Begin containment." Beams of blue light fell from the sky like pillars. They surrounded the dome. Gravity twisted. The ground broke. A perfect sphere of force formed around Iris. Inside it, sound vanished. Air vanished. Time felt slow. The strangers who had come for her stepped back, relieved. "She cannot escape that," one said. Iris lifted her hand. The field bent inward. The beam flickered. She lowered her hand. The beam snapped like glass. The sphere collapsed. Every ship above the planet lost power for 1 full second. In space, 1 second was enough. 3 vessels drifted into each other. One broke apart. The colony watched the sky burn. Fear spread faster than sound. From the flagship, a new voice was broadcast to the planet. Calm, artificial. "Iris, you are not under arrest. You are under protection." The words echoed through every street. "We will return your parents. We will rebuild this world. We will give humans a place among the higher civilizations." Iris's hands shook. "Where are they?" she asked. The silence that followed was answer enough. She took 1 step forward. The ground rippled. A second step. Mountains trembled. She stopped. Her breathing became slow. Too slow. The air around her began to glow. The agents who had entered her home ran. They did not make it far. They did not vanish. They aged. In seconds, their bodies turned to dust and fell to the floor. The colony screamed. High above, the council panicked. She is destabilizing reality. She is not using energy. She is rewriting it. Fire the null weapons, now. Ancient cannons turned, not to kill her, to erase the area of space she stood in. A beam without color struck the planet. Where it touched, matter simply stopped existing. A growing circle of nothing spread across the surface. It moved toward Iris. People ran. Cities vanished. Oceans folded inward. Iris watched the nothing approach. For the first time in her life, she did not feel afraid. She felt angry. The nothingness reached her feet and stopped. It could not move past her. It curved. It broke. Then it collapsed inward, like a wave crashing into a wall. The beam reversed. It rushed back into the sky, straight into the weapon that fired it. The flagship tore itself apart from the inside. Shockwaves rolled across the fleet. Hundreds of ships lost control. Some fled. Some collided. Some simply went dark. The galaxy watched in horror. In the quiet that followed, a smaller ship detached from the armada. It descended slowly. A landing ramp opened. A group of armored beings stepped out, unarmed. They knelt. "All high councils have voted," their leader said. "You are no longer classified as a weapon." Iris said nothing. "You are now classified as an existential risk." The being lowered its head. "And the galaxy does not know how to survive you." Iris closed her eyes. Behind her eyelids, memories burned. Cold rooms. White lights. Voices calling her mistake. She opened her eyes again. "Where were you," she asked quietly, "when they took my family?" No one answered. Behind the kneeling group, space itself began to ripple. Not from her. From something far away. Something that had felt her. Something old. Something hungry. On every surviving ship, alarms began to scream. A new signal had appeared. Not hers. Stronger. Darker. And moving toward the galaxy. When the mistake fought back, the galaxy did not attack again. It changed tactics. The fleets pulled back, the weapons powered down, messages flooded every human channel, not threats. Promises. Protection. Status. Safety. A future. They blamed rogue factions. They offered peace. They offered answers. Iris did not trust them. But they returned Aaron and Lena. Alive. Shaken. Weak. When Iris saw them step off the small transport ship, her knees nearly gave way. She ran to them. For the first time since childhood, she cried openly. The galaxy watched that moment and learned something dangerous. She cared. They told her a story. They said the first attack was not official. They said some powers feared her and acted alone. They said higher councils now wanted to protect her, not destroy her. They asked her to come peacefully. To talk, they said. To learn, they said. To keep humans safe, they said. The human leaders begged her not to go. But Iris saw the truth. If she stayed, Earth would become a shield. If she left, Earth might survive. She touched her parents' hands. "I'll come back," she said. She did not know if that was true. The ship that took her was not a prison ship. It was worse. It was silent. No windows. No crew she could see. The air felt heavy. Every step made the walls ripple like water. Deep inside, machines woke. They were not scanners. They were cages. The moment Iris entered the central chamber, light folded around her. Rings of black metal closed in. Symbols burned across the floor. The temperature vanished. Pain exploded in her body. She fell to her knees. Needles of light pierced her skin. Her vision filled with white. "You cannot grow while you are free," a voice said from everywhere. You cannot be guided while you are awake. We will correct the mistake. The machines activated. She saw the lab again. The first lab. Cold walls. Bright lights. Hands that never touched her gently. Voices arguing above her. Too much. Too fast. End it. She felt the first fear she had ever known. She felt the pod close. She felt space. The long dark. The fall. Her chest tightened. The machines around her pushed deeper. They were not reading her. They were trying to rewrite her. Her memories broke open. Not only her childhood. Not only the lab. But something older. Something placed inside her before she was born. A structure. A design. Not to destroy. To answer. To stand. To remain. Her heart began to beat differently. The chamber shook. The symbols on the floor burned out. One ring cracked. Then another. The voice changed. Stop, the core is destabilizing. The pain vanished. So did the machines. They did not break. They aged. Metal turned to rust. Circuits turned to dust. The entire chamber decayed in seconds. Iris stood up. Her eyes were no longer dark. They reflected stars. The ship tried to flee. It could not move. Every system on board froze in a state between on and off. Iris walked through the hallway. Walls pulled away from her. Doors melted before she touched them. Guards raised weapons. They failed. She did not look at them. She felt them, and gently turned them off. Not dead. Asleep. Dreaming. She reached the bridge. The leaders who had promised peace were there. They were not kneeling. They were trembling. You said you would protect me, Iris said. We tried, one answered. You tried to own me, she replied. Behind her the stars bent. The ship screamed without sound. I was not born to be fixed, Iris said. I was born to choose. She raised her hand. Space folded. The bridge vanished. Not destroyed. Removed. The ship drifted empty. Iris stood outside it. In open space. Without a suit. Without fear. Light wrapped around her like breath. Across the galaxy, sensors went blind. Maps rewrote themselves. Old gods of machine cultures shut themselves down. War empires went silent. Every power that had hunted her now understood. She was no longer contained. She was no longer growing. She was awake. But before she could move, the darkness moved. Not ships. Not energy. A wound in space opened. Black, deep, endless. Something looked back from it. Something that did not exist in this universe. Something that had waited. Across every world, every species felt the same thing. Relief. Not because it was gone, but because something else had finally arrived to face it. Iris turned toward the wound in space. For the first time, she felt something that felt like her. The war the galaxy couldn't. The wound in space did not open like a door. It peeled. Reality tore slowly like fabric under invisible hands. No light came from inside it. No energy, no motion. Only absence. Stars near it dimmed. Signals failed before they reached it. Even Iris's presence bent away from it, like the universe itself was afraid to touch what lived beyond. Across thousands of worlds, ancient warning systems screamed for the first time in millions of years. Not an invasion alert. An extinction alert. The first fleets arrived. Not to fight Iris. To fight what had come because of her. They were the largest armadas ever formed. War cultures, machine swarms, star eaters, light civilizations. They fired together. Beams that could crack planets. Weapons that erased moons. Engines that tore holes in time. They struck the wound. Nothing happened. Then something moved inside the dark. And 1,000 ships simply stopped existing. No explosion. No remains. They were not destroyed. They were forgotten. Every system that tracked them lost the memory they were ever built. The fleets broke. Some fled. Some went mad. Some fired again. The wound grew. Iris watched from a distance no human eyes could measure. She felt the dark not as an enemy, but as pressure, as hunger, as a correction. This thing was not alive the way life was known. It was what remained when universes failed. A cleaner, a final silence, and it was aware of her. It moved. Galaxies dimmed along its path. Civilizations died without ever seeing it. Space folded inward like a dying lung. No defense mattered. No strategy slowed it. The war lasted less than 1 hour. The galaxy lost. Panic followed. Every high council collapsed. Every god machine went quiet. Worlds turned their weapons on themselves. Some tried to escape into other dimensions. Those doors closed. Others begged Iris to save them. Most could not even speak anymore. Human space went dark. Earth lost contact with its colonies. Ships vanished between messages. Iris felt something new spread through her. Not anger. Responsibility. She moved. Not through space. Through meaning. She arrived at Earth without distance. She stood above the planet like a quiet star. Humans looked up. And did not run. They did not kneel. They waited. That broke something inside her. She reached out. Not with power. With memory. She showed the galaxy something it had lost. Children. Hands held in cold rooms. Small lights in long nights. Joys. The dark reacted. The wound pulsed. For the first time, it changed direction. It came for her. Space collapsed around them. The stars pulled away like frightened animals. They were alone. The first contact did not feel like impact. It felt like being erased. Her past faded. Her body thinned. Her thoughts slowed. Whole versions of her vanished. The lab. The pod. The mines. Even Aaron and Lena began to slip. Iris held them. She did not fight. She remembered. The dark pressed harder. Entire histories burned away. And inside that loss, something answered. The structure within her activated. Not a weapon. Not a shield. A limit. The one thing the dark could not pass. She expanded. Not outward. Inward. She became heavier than time. Deeper than space. She anchored herself to the idea of existence. The dark struck her. And stopped. It wrapped around her like a storm around a mountain. It could not consume her. It could not understand her. She was not matter. Not energy. Not information. She was will. The wound trembled. The dark began to slow. Across the galaxy, something impossible happened. Dead systems flickered. Stars reignited. Some lost ships returned empty but real. Space stabilized. The dark was still there. Still vast. Still terrible. But no longer moving. The war was not won. But it had ended. Because of one small human girl standing between everything and nothing. Iris floated in the silent space between galaxies and felt something new, exhaustion, and something worse. The dark was learning why she was made. The dark did not move, but it did not sleep. It pressed against Iris like a silent ocean against glass. Every moment it tested her. Every moment it tried to understand what she was. And every moment it failed. The galaxy did not cheer. It could not. Whole regions were gone. Civilizations were dust. Billions of voices had ended without sound. Survivors drifted in broken systems, afraid to even send signals. And at the center of all of it, Iris. She remained where the dark had stopped, holding it, not with strength, with presence. Time behaved strangely near her. Days passed in the galaxy. For her, only thoughts moved. And inside those thoughts, something unlocked. The structure within her opened deeper than before. Not as memory, as record. The first creators appeared before her, not alive, echoes, stored intentions, ghosts of a dead species that had once ruled entire clusters of stars. They had not feared war. They had feared silence. They had seen universes before theirs collapse. They had watched reality thin. They had learned the dark was not evil. It was what arrived when existence could no longer hold itself. A final correction. They could not destroy it. They could not escape it. So they tried something else. They designed a being that would matter too much to be removed. A living anchor. A contradiction. A will strong enough that the dark would have to stop and decide. They failed. Their first designs became monsters. Living weapons. Hollow gods. None of them could hold meaning. None of them could choose. Then they tried again. This time, they did not design power first. They designed vulnerability. They created a mind that could feel small, a body that could suffer, a heart that could attach. And inside that fragile frame, they planted an impossible core. Not a bomb, a boundary, a point where nothingness could go no further. They named the project Phase Zero. Not the beginning of war, the beginning of refusal. Iris felt their regret. They had rushed. They had been afraid. They had tried to control what could never be controlled. When her energy rose too fast, they panicked. They called her a mistake. They tried to erase her before she could become what she was meant to be. They never gave her the one thing she truly needed. A life. Humans gave her that. A home. Fear. Love. Loss. Joys. The one thing the dark had never faced. The record faded. Iris understood. She was not created to fight the dark. She was created to force it to hesitate. To meet something it could not cleanly remove. Something that could look back. And mean it. Far away, the galaxy was changing. Without empires, worlds turned inward. Old enemies shared orbits. Human ships became bridges between shattered regions. Not because humans were strongest. Because she was one of them. And she did not abandon them. Humanity became the center of recovery. The species that raised the anchor of existence. The small race that taught the ultimate being how to care. That story spread. And the dark listened. The pressure increased. The wound twisted. For the first time since it appeared, the dark tried not to consume, but to go around. Space screamed. Whole dimensions folded. The galaxy felt it immediately. Iris felt something tear. Not in space. In herself. The dark was adapting. Learning how to exist where she stood. Learning how to reach what she was protecting without touching her. She could not hold forever. Not like this. She needed to do more than stop it. She needed to answer it. And in that realization, her form changed. Light deepened around her. Not brighter, heavier, more real. Her human shape became only a surface. Behind it, something vast opened. Not infinite, focused, a presence that was no longer just a limit, but a statement. The dark recoiled, not in fear, in recognition. Across every surviving world, instruments spiked. Old prophecies activated. Dead languages translated themselves. One message appeared across countless systems at the same time. Phase 0 has reached definition. Iris opened her eyes, and the dark finally understood. She was not standing in its way anymore. She was standing for something. From mistake to guardian. The dark changed. Not in size. In purpose. It no longer pushed against Iris. It moved around her. Like a slow tide finding cracks in stone. Stars at the edges of the galaxy began to fade again, not near her, far away, beyond where she stood. It had learned. It could not erase her. But it could erase everything else. Iris felt entire civilizations end like candles in distant rooms. She had become a wall. But the galaxy was too large to protect from one place. Humans saw it first. Long-range stations detected silent zones spreading beyond mapped space. No explosion, no radiation, just absence. Earth's leaders sent a single message, not to armies but to her. We are still here. No demand. No prayer. Just presence. Iris closed her eyes. She remembered a broken dome. Cold nights. Aaron's hands guiding hers across dead machines. Lena's voice reading old stories about stars that protected travelers. Small things. Heavy things. The kind of things the dark could never understand. She made a decision. Not as Phase 0. Not as the ultimate being. As a human daughter. She released the limit inside her. The one thing holding the dark in place. The wound surged forward. Reality screamed. Every sensor in the galaxy shattered. For one impossible moment, the dark touched her fully. Her memories began to fall away. Her name faded. Her face thinned into light. Her past tried to vanish. But she did not resist. She offered. Not power. Meaning. She opened herself like a door. And the dark stopped. For the first time in its endless existence, it encountered something it could not process. Not energy. Not matter. A life. A choice. A reason to remain. Iris expanded. Not across space. Across connection. She reached every thinking world at once. Every surviving mind. Every memory of warmth, loss, hope, defiance. Humanity's stubborn will. Alien wonder. Machine curiosity. She bound them together. Not as a hive. As a chorus. The dark entered that chorus. And slowed. It did not vanish. It filled. Its hunger met memory. Its silence met voice. Its absence met story. The wound in space began to glow. Not light. History. The dark was no longer empty. It was carrying what it touched. For the first time, it was not cleaning a universe. It was becoming part of one. The process took no time. And all time. When it ended, the wound closed. Space stabilized. Stars held. The spreading silent zone stopped growing. Across the galaxy, systems rebooted. Planets that should have been dead still were. But nothing else was taken. The end had been reached. Anne refused. Iris did not fall. She did not rise. She remained. But she was different. She no longer stood between the galaxy and nothing. She was now woven into everything. She could still appear, still speak, still walk, but she was no longer only one place. On Earth, a quiet light appeared above the planet. Not a ship, not a god, just a soft presence. People looked up and felt something they had not felt since the first night the stars were born. Safe. Iris appeared one last time in the old mining world. The dome had long been rebuilt. Children played where she once hid. She stood there, human in shape, watching. Aaron and Lena were gone now, their names carved into metal beside many others. She knelt, touched the stone, and smiled. "They were right," she whispered. "I was a mistake." She stood. But mistakes are how new things enter the world. Above her, the stars burned steady. Across the galaxy, history began again. Not with empires, not with weapons, but with a truth that spread from world to world. Humanity was not the strongest, not the oldest, not the largest, but they were the ones who raised the being that taught the universe how to refuse its own ending. And in every culture, in every language, her story ended the same way. They called her a mistake, until the galaxy realized she was the reason it still existed.